Good morning, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. And today, in this business section, we are going to discuss about the issues which are affecting Byju's. Byju's is the world largest edtech company today, and it has been valued at $8 billion. So it's a fairly large company coming from India in a very short period of time. So what is going wrong is the topic of our analysis today. And by the way, we are live, so your messages will get displayed down here. And if you have any suggestions, any comment on this subject, feel free to shoot it across. Your messages will get displayed here. All right, let's begin. So Byju's is basically started by Baiju Ravindran, and he grew up in a village in Kerala, a very humble upbringing. However, both of his parents were teachers, and he was a brilliant student. He was an unconventional student, that is undoubtedly because he had a different kind of a mindset. And but his choice of starting Byju's as a career really took shape when he actually relocated to Bangalore and started teaching the students. And he actually invented the unconventional way of teaching by audio video medium, because before that the tutoring was mostly done by the classroom or like a tuition class kind of a thing. So he changed all that, because even teachers are teaching in the class, but how much a student can grasp, Byju's recognized that, and he actually created his course curriculum in such a way that it registers in the mind of the student by use of audio and video examples. So he started that in a small classroom. First few students came in, and then people really appreciated his way of teaching, and they kept on joining in the classroom. So from classroom, the number of students grew so large that he had to basically move to an auditorium, and then he started taking classes in auditorium, and then eventually he had to basically move his classes to a stadium. So his fame became so much that a stadium full of students were required in order to what this gentleman is teaching you. So in many ways he is a visionary, he is an entrepreneur. He actually converted his tutoring business into a big time online edtech company. So we will actually tell you what is happening today. Before I move forward, I would like to tell you that at this point in time, the company is being probed for foreign exchange violation, because the company has grown so big, and in India there are regulations like FEMA regulations and foreign exchange regulations. So the company valuation today is $8 billion. The money is obviously being invested by various players. To name a few, BlackRock, Sequoia Capital, and also a lot of Indian business people like Reliance, etc. They have also invested in Byju's, and so the company has grown huge. They have also done a lot of acquisitions, so we will cover all that. So current problem is the foreign exchange violation under which the company is being probed. And in order to bail his company out, Byju is basically right now busy in getting fresh equity-based investment into the company. As a public listed company, they can actually decide to go for a SEBI-based, SEBI-regulated IPO, which is not likely to happen because of the impending investigation which is going on right now on the financial malpractices by the company. So in order to bail his company out, Byju is basically trying to get private funding on the basis of equity transfer. Right now he has not seen much success, even though he is now in Middle East countries. He is based there, and he's trying to raise funds to bail his company out. So As I said, that his captivative global rise is because of the investment behind him, and he grew very rapidly in matter of like a couple of years. 5 to 7 years, the company has become a small company, a small enterprise, web-based system to a global edtech powerhouse. So I think there is a learning also how fast you should grow, because sustainability is a big question. So what I'm discussing today has many lessons. One of the big lesson is when you grow, you have to actually have a sustainable growth. So Baiju is a very big example of that. So he grew very rapidly, and because of so much funding coming in from all over the world, a lot of people wanted to invest in Baiju because it was a very rapidly growing education company, and nobody wanted to be left out on this success story. So a lot of investment came in, and because of this cash flow which was coming into the company, Baiju's ended up acquiring other education companies which were very well established, and some of these transactions were running into billions of dollars. And so they not only got a lot of funding, they also grew rapidly, because when the money is coming in, you have to basically invest that money so that you can pay back your investor. So there is nothing wrong in doing that, because now you're actually expanding, you're acquiring other education company, trying to increase your market share. So Baiju's actually did the right thing by going on a acquisition spree. They ended up acquiring more than 12 education companies in India and abroad, using the investment money. Now, when you grow, you also have to learn how to delegate responsibility, so that even when you incorporate a company which you have acquired, you need to ensure that they do not lose out their brand value and they do not lose out their existing clientele. So that is also a trick, and in order to do that, there is a balance that has to be striked, in the sense that when you actually grow very rapidly, you will not have the backup team to manage all of these from a centralized location. And as you must have heard that more and more people are now talking about decentralized control, I think there was not sufficient time given to Baiju's to basically organize the structure in a proper way. So they acquired a lot of companies very rapidly. They had a lot of funds. They were cash rich. They acquired a lot of companies, and because of this, the when the whole infrastructure started to crumble, in the sense that there was not very strong management behind this entire new structure. Now it's not only Baiju's, but also the new entities which has now joined the Baiju's ecosystem. And way back in 2013 and 14, Baiju's also converted the entire learning process into a e-learning process, and they launched a global portal where they were actually signing up students online and asking them to learn at their own pace. So this was a model which was perfected. Baiju had created his course material already, so it was very easy for them to migrate into the e-learning platform and migrate everything into the e-learning. So this is exactly what they did, and it worked beautifully as far as the system is concerned. However, when you implement the strategy, marketing strategy, that is a different ball game. You need to control people. You need to have management people who can manage the whole thing, report to the centralized location, also adhere to the government guidelines. So maybe somewhere down the line, because of this very rapid growth, the company did not get time to implement these basic infrastructure, because whenever you grow, you first create the infrastructure, then you actually invest to grow further. Because if you grow and then you build the infrastructure, it will take a lot of time, because maybe you will end up in panic hiring of people. Maybe you will end up taking the wrong candidate. You may have to replace it. So you need time to build this team. So therefore, growing rapidly is good, but growing rapidly that you cannot control is also bad. So this is the point I wanted to drive here. And gradually, as per the government guidelines, the government of India says that if you are above a certain turnover threshold, you need to have external directors. So external directors were also hired into Byju's. However, the Byju management became very headstrong, and they did not listen to the wise advices given by the independent entities. So these external directors are independent entities. They are basically as per the Government of India guidelines. Any public listed company will have to have a certain percentage of external directors which are not from their ecosystem, so that the checks and balances can be kept. However, Byju's management ignored the advices given by these independent directors, because obviously independent directors has nothing to gain or lose. They're only giving advices, and when they were not giving advices, the cracks started to appear into the management or the management of the Byju's. A lot of external directors started to leave. Why this happened? Because in the first place, they were losing students. The number of students coming into their classroom kept on reducing because of various issues. The client acquisition issues, there could be service level issues, there could be teachers quality issue, because when you are growing so rapidly, you're obviously, when it was small, Byju was small, the quality of the education provided was largely controlled by Ravindran. However, when they grew so rapidly from 1 billion to 2 billion to 8 billion, they had to do something in order to retain the market share, because they've also done a lot of acquisition. So when you acquire companies, if the people leave in those acquired entities, then you actually incur loss. And if the customer also, which is in this case a student, also leave, do not pay the fee and deregister themselves, you incur loss. So whatever 1 dozen company the Byju's acquired, they actually face all of these issues. So any acquisition has to be controlled. It's not like that you go out in the market and pick up something from the shelf. It has to be controlled, and I think that is where they missed this. They did not take the advices given by the external directors, and because of that, the external directors started to leave. And once that happened, then one thing will lead to other. I do not know what were the compulsions of the management of Byju's, because Byju is the world largest tech company, so they should have actually got some sanity, but they did not. And because of that, they did not even consult the investment bankers. The one thing that you can do is consult a specialist. I keep hearing things from the market that somebody wants investment, but they don't want to go to an expert. They don't want to pay the fee of an expert. But especially in the case of Byju's, when they are so large, they have the money. Why they did not consult specialists like investment banker who could have guided them in terms of the entire acquisition process, adherence to policy guidelines, adherence to regulator, etc. They could have got all that in place, and they could have maintained their global stature. But when the director started leaving, they also did not consult any external entity like any investment banker or consulting investment or any consultant, external consultant. They did not engage with any of those. They largely depended on their own chief strategy officer, which is a very bad thing, politically not correct. And this is what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. That means all this decision making is being done by one person, the chief strategy officer. And the chief strategy officer knowledge may be adequate, may not be adequate, we do not know. I don't want to cast any aspersions on that. However, when you are very large, you have to rely on a team. That is what people keep talking about, team management, and the team consists of your internal resources as well as external resources. Why companies like IBM with such maturity and all the large multinationals, they still engage with consulting companies? Simply because they don't want to basically dilute on the basis of 1 or 2% or group of people which are internal. They actually take the market intelligence, implement, and then they give any change couple of years, not couple of months. And that is why whenever the large companies make a change, they actually give at least 2 to 3 years for that acquired entity to stabilize. It cannot get stabilized in a month, because a lot of people, if they got dissatisfied, they do not get new roles, they will leave. And if the people leave, you actually incur loss, because as part of your acquisition, you have also taken employees as an asset. So I think this is what happened here actually. When they acquired so many companies, they had the money, they actually spent the money. The people started leaving because of dissatisfaction. Money was not well spent. The company did not even consult investment bankers and investment consultants. They did not even listen to their external directors, which are appointed by as per the regulation. So now the whole onus lies on the one or two people in the company. And what I've also read in the media is that they also did not file their returns. They failed to file their returns, and that is a big issue when it comes to filing returns for a company, especially in India. So that is one regulatory related stuff. Now, since they had so much money, they actually went on a advertising marketing spree. They did lot of expenditure in advertising and marketing in order to spread the word. So most of their expenses were around marketing and advertising. The thumb rule, friends, is that if your turnover is $1 million, your marketing budget itself, including salaries of marketing people and sales people, should not exceed 15% as a mediocre expense. You can increase it to about 30 to 40% if your brand is very well established, like Microsoft. Their marketing budgets is slightly higher. But if you are growing, you don't want to spend a lot of money, because marketing is an expense. It is an expense of getting the sale done. It's an expense where you need to spend money in order to make money, so that money is not going to come back. So this is exactly what they went wrong on the strategic front. There could be many things. I have already told you that taking help of an investment banker, taking help of a legal expert who can guide them how to follow the government regulation, and also they went overboard with their marketing expenses. So the lesson in this whole thing is, you need to grow rapidly. The hunger to make more money is important. It is what that drives the company forward. However, this growth has to be managed. You cannot grow overnight, because if you grow overnight, the fall will be even faster. And this is exactly what is happening now. In order to bail out the company, a lot of teachers have left them, a lot of students have left them. Their education establishments are running empty. The management is now looking at private equity. I do not know what they have to offer, how much control they want to offer to the private equity investment partners from Middle East. So that is between them. However, this situation is dire, and this is where the company has landed into. So a lot of learning, friends, covering this case study only because we can learn from this. We can see how much growth we want in our life, how much growth we want that we can sustain, how we can grow. Because if you're growing, you should have a roadmap of at least 3 to 5 years. So did Byju's had that roadmap? If they had that roadmap, then why they did not incorporate the investment bankers into this roadmap? Why they did not take the advices given by external directors? Why did not they had the strategy, HR policy strategy to retain their employees, not only in their ecosystem but also in the acquired ecosystem? So there are a lot of glaring questions, and above all, they actually failed to follow the foreign exchange guidelines, for which they are being probed and investigated. So friends, if you have any questions in this regard on this subject, feel free to send in your comments. I will meet you tomorrow again and take some of your questions, repeat that and answer those in my tomorrow session. So have a nice day today, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Bye bye.